Well, hello and welcome to this very special episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. And today we honor our veterans of this great country as we get ready to celebrate them and their brave achievements this Saturday, November 11th on Veterans Day 2023. And I really think today is a special show because today we get to show off not only how deep the talent pool is here, with the employees that directly work for Avoya Travel and support the Avoya network by having not one, but two special Meet the Team guests. But both our guests today have deep and meaningful relationships with our military community. In just a moment, we're going to welcome in Teagan Fredericks, Network Marketing Assistant for Avoya Travel, who's not only an amazing asset to our company, but a U.S. Marine veteran with an amazing background to share. Many of my personal closest friends are former Marines, and I have nothing but the deepest respect for anyone that puts on that uniform. And I can't wait to welcome Teagan to our show here in just a moment. Followed by Teagan, we also get to welcome in someone from my own team, Peg Hunsinger, Independent Agency Affiliation Specialist, who's also deeply connected to our military community. Her son serves, her father served. I mean, wait until you hear the story that Peg's going to share about her dad and his service. I mean, you talk about a story of bravery and just that will to survive. Wow, I think it's pretty amazing. I think her nephew serves. She has the shirt to prove it all. We can't wait to showcase Peg Hunsinger and her great story as well in a moment. And of course, we'll make sure we provide all the details about our ongoing veterans promotion for those that have and do serve, plus their spouses. We'll spotlight the latest in travel agent education powered by Avoya. Avoya's resources, social media, so you can follow along in all things Avoya, and of course our contact information so you can get involved, get that request and get connected to someone amazing like Peg Hunsinger, sorry Peg, to answer all of your questions. But first, let's kick off this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, with some breaking news and two great stories that I just had to take a moment and share. One, what an honor it was to be personally in attendance last week for the annual Travi Awards as part of Cruise World 2023. I was lucky to be with the staff of WindStar Cruises, and I thank them for their just amazing hospitality. And it was an honor to be there because our two founders, Van and Brad Anderson, received the Travi Lifetime Achievement Hall of Fame induction. They both made moving and wonderful speeches, staying humble and proud as always. And it was just a true pleasure to witness and represent Avoya Travel at such a fantastic event. Personally, I say congratulations to Van and Brad. You deserve all the accolades that come your way. Thanks for founding such an amazing place to call home that Avoya Travel has become for me, for my wife, and so many of my friends and coworkers. Also, in breaking news, pretty exciting stuff. Industry legend and great friend to this program, Donda Ritzenholler, former senior VP at Celebrity Cruises, has announced her retirement. Well, it was short, and she's returning to the industry, this time as CEO of Ozamara, when her non-compete is up in May of 2024. Now, quoting Dondra from a recent interview, I can't tell you how happy and motivated I am to become part of Ozamara. This is a very trade-driven brand, and so I value my relationship with travel advisors. I can't wait to work with them again and with the leadership team of Ozamara, bring this brand to new heights. It's almost like if you know Dondra Ritzenholler and you know that distinctive voice she has, it's almost like when you see something on a Facebook meme that's written by Samuel Jackson, you hear it in his voice. As I read that, I hear that in Dondra Ritzenholler's a wonderful Southern drawl. And I'm just excited to welcome her back to this industry. And from the shameless plug category, Dondra was our special 2-year anniversary guest when we did On Deck with Avoya Live last year from the Celebrity Beyond. If you missed that, maybe I can talk Annabella into dropping a link to that episode in our comments today. But time to turn our attention back to our special focus for today's On Deck with Avoya, and that's our veterans. I've always said that those with a military connection do great in the travel industry, and our first guest certainly proves that to be true. Teagan's part of the great team behind this amazing show and all of our outstanding trade marketing efforts. So please help me welcome the first of two special guests this week as we honor those that serve and have served our military. Teagan Fredericks, Network Marketing Assistant for Avoya Travel and proud veteran of the U.S. Marines. Teagan, so great to have you as our Meet the Team guest today.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Teagan, tell me a little bit about yourself and including your amazing military history and kind of what led you to working for Avoya Travel in our world-class marketing department?
Yeah, of course. So I served 5 years in the Marine Corps. So I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm also now a Marine Corps spouse because my husband's in the Marine Corps. So hitting two sides there. I also have a twin sister in the Marine Corps and a brother in the Marine Corps. So deep ties.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I was a combat photographer in the Marine Corps, and I've just always had a passion for travel. My mom's always worked in the travel industry. She was an IA with Avoya. Now she runs the support team. So travel has definitely been a passion that just runs through my blood. And I knew that the military would let me accomplish some of my travel goals. So that was definitely one of the reasons why I joined. And I got just that. I got about 6 months into the Marine Corps. They decided to send me to the Middle East. So my first deployment was to Kuwait. And then from Kuwait, I was pretty much in a different country every month. So I went to Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Bahrain, Jordan, all over the place. And got to photograph some really cool and some really scary things. And then I got out of the Marine Corps in 2021, and I had always heard about like how difficult it was for veterans to find employment outside of the military, but I didn't think I was going to have that problem. But I did. I got out and I applied to many jobs. I had a lot of interviews and I just like couldn't find a place for me. And then I ended up working at Avoya. There was an opening in the support desk where my mom works. So I started working there, and then just this past summer, there was a lot of openings in our marketing department as we continue to grow, which is so exciting. And I decided to throw my hat in there, and I was like, let me try. And I got it, and I love it. I love working in marketing. It's incredible.
That's awesome. I said a minute ago, proud veteran of the U.S. Marines. First off, is that an accurate statement on my part, or am I just kind of overhyping there? Because again, like I said, many of my great friends are former Marines, and there's no doubt that they're very proud of that association even after they're out of the service.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm incredibly proud. Sometimes I was talking to Annabelle about this the other day about like some of the stuff that I did. I look back and I'm like, did I really do that? I feel like whenever you're in the Marine Corps, you just kind of have like not only the discipline, but just like the lack of fear. Like I did so many incredible things that if you asked me to do them now, I probably would not. So yeah, I'm very proud of the things that I accomplished while I was in.
Well, that's fantastic, and you should be. Do you like being part of the travel industry so far?
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited for the future.
Tell me a little bit about what your role does on a day-to-day and how that ends up having a net benefit for the people that are in the Avoya network.
Of course. So I work as a network marketing assistant. So I help run our social media accounts. And then we also work with some different publishers. We work with like Find a Host or Host Agency Reviews. And we also do email marketing and we write blogs. So it's a lot of creative thinking. And we're just trying to do our best to reach out to people who are looking to become travel advisors and just grow the network. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, so far so good, because it's been a pretty amazing year from that standpoint. So keep up the great work to not only you, but everybody there in your team there at Trade Marketing. You talked about for a second your mom, and your mom, Carrie, who's been a past guest here at On Deck with Avoya, is the head of the support team. I have to ask though, and I think the world of your mom, but be honest with me, Teagan, who was easier, your mom growing up or your drill sergeant when you were in basic?
The drill instructors were definitely not as scary as I was expecting. I'll leave it at that. But I also went to boot camp with my twin sister, which isn't really something that you typically have. You kind of get thrown into boot camp by yourself, but I had her, so it definitely helped a lot, and we definitely laughed a lot more than we probably should have. But yeah, it was definitely nice having her there.
That's a really cool experience. Is that pretty rare? I mean, not only to know somebody that you're going through boot camp, but to be like flesh and blood?
It is rare. They have a program. I'm not sure if it's still going on, but they have a program called the Buddy Program, which kind of helps their enlistment goals as well. As you can enlist with another person, but not, you don't typically get put in the same platoon. Like you can go to boot camp with them, but they're training with a whole different group. But me and my sister were in the same platoon, and we had beds across from each other, so we were always making faces at each other and just messing around.
That's so funny. What's your thoughts about the fact that Avoya Travel, very pro-military, pro-veterans, with our veterans discount? Do you think that the military is a good starting point for those that end up becoming travel agents down the road?
I think it is an amazing start. And I think that it's kind of just a natural progression going from the military to the travel industry, because people who serve in the military get to travel a lot and get to understand not only like the benefits of travel, but also the downsides of travel, like having to make last minute changes and all that stuff. And who better to work with as a travel advisor than a military veteran who can easily respond to those things and think on their feet? I think it's a no-brainer, honestly.
Yeah, because you have to wear a lot of hats as a small business owner, right? Whether you're in the travel industry or really any industry that you're in. And from my experience and my friends that have that military background, that switching hats, and it goes back to what you said, right? I mean, you were in a different country every month. So
Yeah.
adapting to constant change, which the travel industry is certainly all about, fits like a glove, in my opinion, with somebody with a military background.
Mhm.
So Teagan, we have one final question. We ask all our guests this, and that's just, what are your thoughts and maybe your excitement level about the future of leisure travel in the travel industry?
I'm very excited. I had the honor of going to a conference earlier in Alaska, and I got to see some of the exciting upcoming events that we have planned for 2024. So I'm very excited for those. We have a lot of great things planned network marketing wise for 2024 for growing the network. And I'm just so excited to see those get put into place and see the network grow. It's very exciting.
Fantastic. Teagan Fredericks, everyone, network marketing assistant for Avoya Travel. Teagan, thank you again for that great conversation. Thanks for all you do in helping us grow the network and in the marketing side. And of course, thank you so much for your service to the country.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Special guest number 2 is somebody I work with very closely. Anytime I mention getting in touch with one of the amazing people on my team, I'm talking about Peg and her amazing coworkers in network expansion. So it makes me a bit proud to showcase her story today. So help me welcome in our special guest number 2 today, Avoya Travel Independent Agency Affiliation Specialist, Peg Hunsinger, as our special Veterans Day Meet the Team guest. Peg, so great to have you on the show and
Thanks,
just
Chris.
showcase your story.
Thank you so much.
Peg, before we get too far into our segment, can you tell us a little bit about your great history in the travel industry and how you ended up with Avoya Travel?
Sure. I've been in the industry about 20 years now, and I started out with brick and mortar. Then I had to wholesale, and I became an independent agent with Avoya for about 8 years. And now I think of it, it's come full circle. Now I'm an employee of Avoya.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get to talk to people that are, interested in becoming affiliates and comparing us to maybe some of our competitors. And we're always happy for that comparison because we usually shine pretty well in those situations. So it's great to have you on this side. And I think that experience, having been a former affiliate with Avoya Travel, certainly serves you very well. Hopefully you feel the same way.
Yeah, it definitely does.
So we're honoring those that have served in our special Veterans Day episode of On Deck with Avoya today. Peg, tell us a little bit about your connection to those in the military, which is so special. And maybe you can share some of the details in that story about how it ties your dad and your son together in some ways, at least as far as where they've served.
Yeah, sure. Well, my dad was a Marine, and like Teagan was mentioning, that honor, they hold on to that. Like most kids, when they're little, they're learning Old MacDonald. I remember me and my siblings learning the Marine Corps hymn from my father. So, like I said, they're learning Old MacDonald. We're learning from the halls of Montezuma. So that level of honor stays, with them throughout their life. Do you want me to read that story for my dad?
Yeah, if you could, because this is a great story. And where was this featured, first of all?
This was featured in our newspaper, our local newspaper. Now, this was back in 1980, so this was saying 30 years ago, but now it's like 71 years ago. This was featured around Christmas time. It mentions that my dad, who was Corporal Russell Thompson of Pattersonville, he spent Christmas in the Naval Hospital in Japan, and he was recuperating from a rifle wound that he suffered in action in North Korea. In a letter to his parents, the 22-year-old Marine said he was trapped with 20 others at the chosen reservoir, where the snow was 12 inches deep and the temperature was 18 degrees. He writes, "We were in a bad spot and lost a lot of men, and for a while I doubted that we'd even get out. Only 7 members of his unit did manage to escape, and a member of the British Royal Marines administered first aid to him, assuring him, 'You're all right, me laddie.' He was then evacuated aboard the hospital ship USS Consolation and taken to Japan."
That's I mean, just hearing you read the story is emotional on my end. I
It is
can only
emotional
imagine.
still.
Yeah, I can only imagine for you knowing that that's your dad you're talking about, and it's such a, for people who are really familiar with the Korean War, it really is a significant battle in that, you know, in that war, and it's so, you know, how lucky that he was able to survive that, and I'm sure that stayed with him for the rest of your life. And then it turned out, right? So your son is also in the military, right?
My son is in the Army, and you know, fate has it, his first duty enlistment 71 years later is to Korea. Not, he didn't pick it, he didn't, you know, ask for it, but he ended up there. I wish my dad had been alive to see that. It would have been pretty neat.
Yeah, I bet. So you have a really deep, right? I mean, your father, your son, but there's a few other connections that you have to the military. Love the shirt, by the way. But
Oh,
for
thank
those
you.
who, for those that can't see everything, we can see Marine daughter, Navy wife, Army mom, Air Force aunt. And we celebrate all of them here on this Veterans Day and our special episode of On Deck with Avoya. And that's pretty cool stuff there, Peg.
It is. Yeah, it's actually very cool.
Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day role with Avoya Travel and how that has a big impact on our network.
Yeah, sure. Daily, I work with those that are new to travel and looking for a career change, or maybe experienced agents who are looking for a new host agency. And being an independent affiliate, I can personally go through all the best-in-class resources that Avoya has and how we can take their travel business to the next level.
Yeah, it's a pretty good job when you've got the
Yes.
goods, right? I mean, I've been in sales situations where you don't have the goods and it can be a real grind. But when you're talking to people and you actually do have best-in-class resources, the live leads, the technology, the support, the marketing, I mean, we could go on and on. It makes
Yeah.
life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It just, you know, I even tell people all the time, you know, I really truly believe this because I've lived it. So it's easy for me to talk about it.
For sure. And as part of your job, you get to work with many prospective affiliates that are veterans or maybe their spouses because of our ongoing promotions. Do you find, much like Teagan did, that they make good prospective travel agents? And what's kind of your spin on why that would be?
Yeah, no, they make excellent, you know, prospective agents because, again, like Teagan says, they have so much travel experience. They're able to think on their feet. They're resourceful. They're independent. These are all great things that great travel agents have. The fact that they can work from anywhere. So whether it's their spouse that's serving and the other spouse is, you know, can have their own travel agency wherever they live, wherever they're stationed, it's a great fit.
One of the things I love about my connection with you, Peg, is that anytime I talk to you, there's no doubt that there is this deep, deep passion about the industry that we're lucky enough to be in. What is it for you? Why do you love being part of the travel business so much?
Well, I've always enjoyed helping people. And now getting, like, as an agent and now even as an employee, getting to help people create memories, you know, special experiences, now their dream jobs. It's really rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any place really extra special that you've been because of your time in the travel industry that you just kind of shake your head and say, wow, I don't think I might have made it there if it wasn't for being part of this industry?
I've been a lot of places, but Ireland is always one of my favorites. You know, ancestry is Ireland. So yeah, I don't know if I'd ever have gone there. I still have a lot of places that I want to go. I always
Yeah,
say that it's on my list, everything.
for sure. Yeah. Haven't been there, on my list, no doubt about it.
Right.
What's your thoughts about now being a good moment, right? I mean, here we are getting ready to wrap up 2023. There's this little thing for people in the travel industry know it called wave season. It's coming up right around the first of the year. What's your thoughts as far as, is now a good time to get involved in the travel industry?
Now I think is an excellent time. 20 plus years in, I don't think, you know, myself or anyone has ever seen the industry as busy as it is. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, for a couple of years, basically the whole world was isolated culturally, socially. Now that we can travel, people are just hankering to go places, to experience things, create memories. We've realized material things don't mean as much as we once thought. And it's, like I said, the travel, the experience, the memories. So yeah, now's an excellent time.
Awesome. You almost just answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because it is my final question, so I kind of have to. So Peg, here we go. I ask all the guests the same thing. Are you excited about the future of leisure travel?
I am excited for the future of leisure travel. I'm also really excited being an employee now with Avoya, just to see all the new things that we're going to be offering our agents. That's very exciting to me.
Yeah, always innovating. That's the Avoya way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Peg Hunsinger, everyone, Avoya Travel Independent Agency Affiliation Specialist. Peg, thanks again for that great discussion. Our best to you and your family, especially those like your son that are still actively serving this great country.
Thank you, Chris. You have a good day. Take care.
Thank you. Next week, can't wait. My main man, Brandon Gotti, joining us for a special discussion. Brandon is the Senior Director of Promotions at Avoya Travel. We're going to find out about booking flights. Yeah, the Avoya Air program. We've been chomping at the bit to share information about this, so we can't wait. He's also going to help us figure out the inside scoop on things like the best promotion for clients, understanding terms and conditions, and so much more. That's next week on Deck with Avoya with Senior Director of Promotions Brandon Gotti at the same time at all the same bat channels, as they would say. Hey, of course, we want to, make sure that we touch base, and it is our theme running throughout our show today of our military community, and we're very proud to continue with our military discount for both veterans and their spouses, whether they're active or they're retired. New to the industry, take $100 off any of the curriculum packages for travel agent education powered by Avoya. Take $100 off your affiliation fee to join Avoya Travel. Again, my team, the team behind Travel Agent Education powered by Avoya, happy to give you the details on that as well. And speaking of travel agent education, because you got to set a good foundation, right? Like you got to do the basic training, as they would say, using the military analogy. Well, this is kind of like our boot camp, except Gina Hoyt is certainly not a drill sergeant. She's much nicer than that. But travel agent education powered by Avoya. There's some amazing deals right now. You can join as low as $349. But if I were you, I'd be thinking pro package, because the pro package is definitely the way to go, because it bundles all of it, right? The education, affiliation with Avoya, and the memberships in CLIA and ASTA. So certainly smart way to do that. Again, avoyanetwork.com has all the information you need, just like it does the resources that are offered by Avoya Travel to the Avoya Network. And our resources, as Peg was saying a little bit ago, definitely best in class, right? I mean, agent power, live leads, all of the marketing assets. I was talking to somebody at Cruise World last week about the Marketing Resource Center. You could just tell their mind was blown, right? Just because they have access to nothing like that. And of course, the support at Avoya Travel is second to none. We encourage you to reach out and start the process at avoyanetwork.com. And as long as we're encouraging you to do things, we encourage you to give us a follow on all of our social media channels at Avoya Travel Network. Instagram, thanks to Teagan, she got that all set up for us. We've got everything on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Facebook. We try to be where all the cool kids are hanging out. So if you'd follow us, we certainly appreciate that. Ring the bell, make the notification thing, do its thing, all of that fun stuff that you have to do on social media. Or you can just go old school and you can pick up the phone and you can give me a call. There's my number. Or send me an email at chris.green@avoyatravel.com. We always love hearing from you. Avoyanetwork.com. I every week I say that's where the information is. That's where you get the process started. You'll be talking to somebody like Peg Hunsinger before you know it. Thank you again to my two amazing guests today, Teagan Fredericks, her great story, Peg Hunsinger, her great story. Again, thanks to Annabella for producing a wonderful segment. We honor all of our veterans that might be watching, all of the veterans that are in your families. We certainly thank them for their sacrifice to make this country what it is. We appreciate your time for being part of On Deck with Avoya. And until next week, take care, my friend.